Chris Level here with another edition of Pirate Talk, and I say another edition because this is number one of season 2023. We brought you one, I think, toward the end of spring football, which Coach Darden here was, what do we have, 14, 18, 20, 22 practices?
We got 14 in.
Okay,
Yep.
You're allowed to do quite a bit of those. But Chip Darden here, longtime head coach of the Lubbock Cooper Pirates. Pleased to be back with him for another season. And football season is upon us, man. And it's a fun time of year. It's hot outside. You guys have been practicing. You're ready to beat up on somebody else. But I know it's a fun time of year.
It is. Hey, I'm glad we're both back. Neither one of us got fired. That's a big thing.
Shocker on my side of the table. That's right.
No,
That's right.
it is. It's biased, best time of year. Ready for it to cool off a little bit, but it's fun. There's always excitement. You know, the thing that I think is always interesting is we start spring ball in late April, kind of start getting into spring ball about mid-April as far as planning it and the guys getting ready for it. So from then until this Friday, it's a long time to not play an opponent, to not have something to prep for. So I think the excitement level around the program is really high. Everybody's just ready to play and get into a routine and have a game, and it's long overdue.
Because I think spring ball is 4 weeks ish.
Yeah, you've got 30,
and you spread
34 days to get in your practices. Yeah,
and then you guys start on the 7th or so of August, give or take a week into it, and then you have a couple of weeks, then a scrimmage, and you have the week in the game. So it's basically 7 weeks of practices. And yeah, you get to mix in the one scrimmage. You guys had that last weekend against Middle and High, which was really good. I enjoyed watching that. Kind of get a little taste of what's to come. But yeah, it's a lot of practice time without getting a result.
It is. They're tired of hitting each other. I mean, well, some of them are. Some of them like doing that, but they're the little scrums and trash talk. You know, it's that time of year. It's time to go against another opponent.
You finished 9-3 last year, well documented. You ran into a really tough opponent in the playoffs, and then you graduate a lot, like as is normal with high school football and college and all those things. How much different is this year's team? Does this team have an identity yet? Are you trying to figure out what this team is? Because they're very different from year to year, not just personnel wise, but the culture, the chemistry, and all that you hope is the same, but sometimes it can be different.
Yeah, and I think most teams you figure out the identity as the season rolls along. I've got an idea of how they're going to be. I think it's a really good group. It's fun. I've said it multiple times to different people, but it's different group than last year. And I think our strengths could be different. And I think maybe what we lean on might be a little bit different than it was last year. But overall, I think similar as far as how we're going to play hard and things like that, and the attitude that the guys play with. And but we'll see on that identity. And I think the captains and the seniors in particular kind of have a lot to do with what the identity ends up being. And last year's group, that to me, that was it. They would grind out games. We kind of won games in multiple ways. If we needed to grind it out and win it 11-8, normal football score like we had against Abilene High, or there were some that we put more points on and kind of, went about it that way. And I think that was their identity. Like, it didn't really matter. We're going to play football however the game comes to us. That's how we're going to play, and we're going to play hard. And I hope that part, we talk about tradition quite a bit in the program. And for us, the tradition isn't X number of wins, this many trophies, all this. For us, tradition is we want the seniors to pass down how we play hard, how we play physical, and that kind of the brand that we play with. I know that's a buzzword around here. I'm not trying to steal that, Joey. But that's what tradition is for us. And I think a lot of times that will translate to more wins than not. But that's what we want our guys to do.
Some non-negotiables is what I hear you
absolutely.
saying. Yeah, like these are some pillars of what the program could be. And we touched on this a little bit, but you guys, kind of, it's always part of the process of morphing your program and kind of maybe adapting to the personnel and all that. But you guys are constantly learning.
Yep.
You are going to coaching schools and clinics. You're teaching them, you're attending them, all these things. But I still think it's fascinating for people that don't know this that you guys took the offensive staff up to the University of Kansas, and you kind of wanted to adapt some of their. Now you didn't bring back Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal
Tried.
with you. Jason Bean would be another
Yeah.
one. And Google those people if you don't know who I'm talking about.
They can run.
Yeah. Athletic, can flat out fly, make you miss, all these things. But you try to pick up some of their, hey, what are they doing on offense to kind of be a bit unorthodox and outside the box to try to bring that home. Kind of fascinating to see what that looks like without getting into too much.
Yeah, that, and we're kind of meshing two different schemes that are similar, but people might have seen it with Coastal Carolina recently, which that head coach and staff is now at Liberty University, and I believe that's Lynchburg, Virginia. So we at one point were going to maybe go to Coastal Carolina, which might have found a golf course there too. But we were going to do that. They go to Liberty. It was going to be real tough travel getting there. Kansas does some similar stuff that we were interested in. So we've done some studying. Coaches, it's been really neat to see our offensive staff kind of go to work on studying a lot of this, and so we've morphed kind of those schemes. The biggest thing, I think there's times, and if you were at the scrimmage, you saw, hey, it might look very similar to what we've done in the past, but then there's just a little more option involved, and there's still a whole lot that we've got to add and that we can add if needed. But right now, just a couple different ways that we can run option and keep defenses accountable. And I think one of the misconceptions after we did that, a lot of the kids are, they kind of figured it out and they start asking, and they're wondering if we're going to be like, Army, Navy, where you're going to throw it 2 times a game, and it's not. I think what we're doing is going to help our passing game. I think we saw that in the scrimmage too, and sometimes it's hard. You practice and you see maybe some success at times in practice. You wonder how it's going to look against somebody else. So we were pleased with how we were able to throw the ball, and I just think it's going to all mesh pretty well. There'll be lumps, like we, especially as offensive staff, you figure out how to play call and how to, what complements each other. And I think these teams that run option, that was something that we asked those guys up at Kansas a lot is what are the answers when a team does, when they try to stop your option by doing something, what's the answer to it? And I think some of that will just come through learning and through us seeing it on film.
Because that's the beauty of the wishbone and the flex bone. It's like, there's always teams are like, okay, we take away this, well then okay, we'll do this. And there's always like the next step. It's kind of fascinating. I'm intrigued to watch it. Obviously, kickoff. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But kickoff 7:00 on Friday night there at Pirate Stadium, First United Park. 100.7 The Score or the LCISD YouTube channel. If you can't be there in person, we would prefer you be there in person watching this, watching the home opener, if you will. And we don't have to travel to Dumas this year. They get to come our way because it's a ways out there. Dumas folks love the Demon people. The Dumas folks. You're just a long ways out there. You're a long ways.
We
out
get to
there.
go to Wichita Falls instead this year.
Yeah, that's right. On a Thursday night. Yeah, no
good.
less. You mentioned team captains, Coach. It's each team. A year ago we're sitting here and I'm like, how do you replace Kyler Jordan, Kobe McKenzie, Kyle Lewis? On and on it went. Holt Gibson and Judge Thomas, and I could go on. And then now we look at it this year, it's like Ty Polite, Cutter Douglas, Cohen Peepcorn, Tyler Spruill, all your offensive linemen who are really, really good, by the way. I've been seeing one over at Crosstown, and he's bigger than he was whenever he was playing with you. Caden Carr's about 330, it seems like now. But let's get into the group that's kind of that core group this year that we'll be talking about a year from now, mostly all seniors. Let's go to those captains on offense.
Yeah, we do a captain vote, and it's coaches, before we do it, there's discussion. Like, I'm kind of just curious, wonder who they're like. Sometimes you can see it, no doubt, and there's certain kids. All right, they follow this kid. This is one of their guys. But I'm always curious to see how that goes. And we don't care if they're freshman or a senior, as long as they're on the varsity. We don't care. It used to be a senior only deal. We've opened that up, so anybody on there. But we kind of find a natural cutoff, and this year the natural cutoff was at 6 players. And as coaches, you look at it sometimes, and there's been a captain vote, and you go, man, if this is who they think are the captains, it's kind of scary. That was not the case this year, and I think there could have been more than just those six. Those aren't the only leaders on our team, but I was just proud of how our team voted on that. So, Holton Hendricks, Makai Garman on the offensive line, those two guys been staples in the program, and Sam Marcinkowski, same way. He's been a 3-year varsity player, and then Jaden Hibbert, who moved this year, was voted a captain. I thought that spoke highly of him. Only being here a few months. And then defensively, Chris Carrillo. Chris Carrillo has spent some time. Got hurt his freshman year. He was maybe about to be on varsity his freshman year as well. And Cal Ritz. And Cal, 4 years of being involved. And I don't know that we could have picked them better. Those guys are going to lead us well. A lot of different personalities in that group. Some of them are vocal. Some of them are very quiet, just play hard every snap. But I think it's a good group that our team can rally around.
Yeah, I think, because the hardest thing with any of us in any walk of life, whether it's athletics, coaching, playing, whatever, earning the respect of your peers is extremely difficult to do. And that's what these gentlemen have done right here.
Yep.
They are respected in that locker room, which means they're good players. They do things the right way. And people look at them. And
you typically don't, again, our tradition of trying to play hard. That's what we want to be known for. I don't think you can be on that group, and I don't think guys will vote for you if they don't think you're going to play hard and do those things right. So those six are good, and they are good football players. You're right about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you want. Yeah, you love a list of 20 guys like that. But you mentioned Jaden Hibbert. He's a name that maybe some people are familiar with, maybe some aren't. You guys played against him last year. We didn't touch on it the last time we did one of these, but this is a special offensive weapon that you guys have added into the mix. People will learn his name really quickly come Friday night, and in the weeks to come. This is somebody that you guys have had to try to tackle before, and he's earned the respect of his teammates rather quickly. Yep. And I think it says a lot about him and what you guys have been able to do with him. But speak to him a little bit.
Yeah, he's we've game planned against him for 2 years. When he was a sophomore over there at Monterey had a running back that I think now is at Army, or at least I know that's where he signed. And he was a senior, and he was a good player too. But man, when this number 12 would come in, we were really scared. He's not very big, but he was tough to game plan for the last 2 years. And I think the first thing that stood out with us though is he's just a great kid. He's fun to be around. I haven't seen him in a bad mood yet. Now maybe he'll get that way, but I hadn't seen a bad mood, and he's an extremely hard worker. Hadn't missed a day, all the things. He's just consistent, I guess, is the way to describe him. But an underrated part of his game is he's got really good hands, and I think that makes him pretty dynamic out of the backfield or moving him into a slot receiver spot. He's able to play a lot of different spots. So he's a good player. I think we're pretty deep in the backfield. We got some seniors, Caden Stanzioni and Branson Carlisle that they've played a lot, and then Jackson Austin's played in the backfield too. And with what we do and how we run the football and running some option stuff, we need a lot of guys that can play back there, and we feel good about them.
You ever seen the movie, the whole Talladega Nights thing?
Okay, I'm not a movie guy, but Talladega Nights is one of my favorites.
Well, there's a scene in that movie where they're, the two drivers, John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell, are kind of, and they're coming up with their own nicknames. But this is what I see when I watch Jaden Hibbert, Magic Man. Now you see me, now you don't, because he is hard. You never get a clean shot on him. I'll tell you when I watched him the other night, and this is heavy praise, and it's probably there's some similarities, again, different levels here, so don't misunderstand what I'm saying. There's a little Deuce Vaughn to him.
Yeah.
Because you can't find him. You never get a clean shot.
Yep.
He's either spinning or bouncing. When he gets out in the open field, it's elite speed. I mean, it's kind of fun to watch because I think it's. You may see it from the stands like, well, I can see him just fine. But like those guys, they're trying to tackle him. He slips through there and sneaks around, and he's got a great spin move.
Yep.
It's a B button or a C button on the joystick there.
See, I don't do it anymore.
I don't either. But anyway, so I think he'll be a lot of fun for fans that are out there watching, whether they're watching on YouTube or at the games or whatever. Coach Lakeman's group back in year 2, he's obviously his second year as defensive coordinator. Did they tweak anything? Are they different? Are they, because he graduated some, we just mentioned some of them, some serious personnel.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I think us changing offenses has gotten, a little bit of publicity maybe and people talking about it, but we adapt every year, and sometimes it's little bitty
Yeah.
tweaks that you might not notice. But yeah, there's differences. I think one of the things that our defense has done is simplified some things with calls and making it a lot easier to communicate with the teams that are going to play fast. We're able to get calls in, and honestly, offense and defensively, we've got kind of two different. At the women's clinic that we had in early August, I kind of showed the moms the difference. Some of our offensive play calls, it's like a paragraph, and we're telling each individual basically what to do. And then defensive has a one-word call, and all 11 know. So I thought our defensive staff did a good job of simplifying some of that. But and then some of the tweaks I think is just personnel. Guys that have played certain positions, moving them around to try to get our best 11 out on the field. And I think sometimes, as we evaluate our season, we always have to make sure that we're doing that. And maybe it's not their position they've played their entire life, but we need somebody to be on the field, and moving them position helps them do that. So
Yeah, and there's you're right. Position switch like Holton Hendricks, played tackle and guard last year. He's moved to center. Chris Carrillo was a backer last year. Now he's down at end. Sam Marson Kelsey's going to play on both sides of the ball. So that's always fascinating. The game within the game on what makes your team better,
Right.
and I think maybe what helps a young man better and be more involved or help the team and all that. Let's talk Dumas a little bit. This was a fascinating opener last year. You were, I don't want to say nervous, but you're like, man, these guys are going to play hard. It's a long ways away. It's good, and you get into a fight early. So this is who opened it up with again this year. Kind of take me back to last year because it was a tale of two halves, and the room,
Bus, are we talking about the bus on the way? We broke down and all that. Yeah, it's fun.
the adversity you have to
That's
deal
right.
with it, and then you show up and it's like, okay, we're a little late. The game kind of started a little late. There's fireworks coming out of a pitchfork. You're waiting for this crop duster that thankfully never showed up to fly over the stadium. They're out there with motorcycles, just burning up gasoline like left and right. And you're thinking, but we got a football game to play, and it's a hard place to play.
Yeah.
They have a standard out there,
Absolutely,
and
they
all they do is win district championships. So I think the last year was the first year they had not won one since 2014.
Yeah.
But kind of take me through Dumas as the opener and kind of what their identity is, because I think you already know it.
Yeah, and I've said it before, but I feel like the stuff that I say about them is what I want teams and coaches to say about us. That they play hard, they play physical. Like and they've got talent. I'm not saying they don't, but you can throw that out. Whoever they put out on the field is going to do those two things. I think it's a reflection of their head coach, Coach Dunham, which is a familiar name for us too, because his brother Chad is the head coach at Amarillo High and used to be the head coach at Dumas, and he was defensive coordinator. Anyway, I feel like the culture there has been in place for a while, starting with brother Chad Dunham and now Aaron taking over, and just a really good culture. And they do. It doesn't matter. They love football up there. I mean, football is a big deal. You can tell in their community and how they support it. And when you get a group of guys playing hard like they do, that's pretty tough. So we know we got our hands full. And, the first game is always tough because we get one scrimmage that we get to look at. So you don't know a whole lot about them as far as their personnel, but we're expecting the best. And they gave us, like you said, they gave us fits last year. I think we had 2 or 3 first downs in the first half, and ended up playing really well in the second half. Thought our offensive line took over. Had quarterback Tyler Sproul, you mentioned him, kind of ran crazy there in the second half and opened things up, and ended up having a comfortable win. It was not comfortable for probably 3.5 quarters, and then it finally got that way.
And that's kind of when you developed an identity.
It is.
I mean, really. I mean, it is kind of fascinating, and obviously, you go in the locker room 8-0 down, and then you score 4 straight possessions, and you just never look back. And it's like, you know what? This is kind of what we are. We're really good at it. Defense played really well, but that Dumas team and program that will come in here Friday night is a handful. And you're right. It's the best compliment you can say about them is, man, they're going to play hard and well and physical and all the things that football teams are supposed to do.
I told our team in the in our scouting report, I said, tell me, offensive guys, tell me a team that wears colors orange and black, and on defense they hadn't changed in years. And everybody said Alito, and I said these guys are the same way. And I mean, they've been running this defense. I think it kind of stemmed back from Abilene Cooper days. I think the Dunham boys were at Abilene Cooper, and they've run this defense for a long time, and those kids are really good at it.
and they don't really hide what they do. Like
Right.
here we are.
Yep.
Here's where we're gonna be. So yeah, we're all good. Anything else going on with Friday night? We've got kickoff at 7 o'clock. I know it's just a fun time of year because when you guys are coming in out of your building, early mornings or whatever, the band is out there.
Yeah.
You could just hear it, smell it, taste it. I mean, it's popcorn, the smell of the air, and on Friday night that'll be in the air and all
If
that.
we can get it
stuff.
to about 50 degrees, I'm with you. It'll be perfect, but we got a ways to go for that.
I will work on that.
The kids are fine with the heat. It's the coaches. Coaches are struggling.
And First United Park, new video board.
Yeah,
That is
that
going to
thing's
be very impressive, I think, to enhance your experience internally there to watch games
Absolutely.
and replays and all those kinds of things. The sound system is new,
Yep.
and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to. Okay, so you got anything for me before I wrap this up? Because I'm gonna put you on the spot a little
Yeah,
bit.
and I needed
You always
to bring
do it. You always do a trivia one, and I
I
get all of
I
them
like
wrong.
to do it off of our record board just because
Yeah,
it's
I always get them
we,
wrong.
We have a new record board. Anyway, I'll ask you some from off of that one. So next time you're in the facility, you can check that new record board.
Okay, I need to do that.
How about this one? The most, yeah, you probably aren't going to know this one, but most touchdown receptions in a season. You probably won't know the name, but I'm curious if you know the number about how many touchdown receptions
in a season. 9.
It's 10. That's a good
Okay,
guess.
okay.
Zakeith Campbell.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have guessed.
Zakeith played 2 years here. He's a really good football player, really good kid. I think that was his junior year with Jarrett Dagey playing quarterback.
Okay,
He
dropped some
he could
touchdown
Zakeith
passes.
could take the top off. He could run.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there you go.
All right, we're gonna play 3 things. Okay.
Week 1, and this is what we're rolling.
Yeah.
with.
Okay. So these are easy. This is all opinion.
We'll see. Fine.
We even make our producer Colton, who you can't see behind the camera, answer these 2. 3 things you want to learn more about in life, whatever.
3 things I'd like to learn more about.
You wish you could learn more about. Yeah.
Okay.
If you had the time, what would it be?
One, I like to, especially in college, I like to play the guitar, but I had to work pretty good at it. And so just music in general, I'm interested.
Okay.
Like the people that, like I know people that can hear music and then they play it, and that is wild to me. So learning a little bit more about music, I think.
Okay. That's one.
I'm a weather nerd. Some might say I
Meteorologist?
enjoy it. Yeah,
Yes,
that was.
yes.
I got asked that, I think, from somebody one time if I wasn't doing this, what I would do. So
Yeah, you'll be well aware of the bulb score people
Now
are
that's
not,
new.
People aren't even going to know what that means.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But
I think we're in good shape. On
But
that
yeah,
for Friday.
we are. But I think it's fascinating. I had to learn about this recently as myself.
Yeah, I don't think you can learn enough about it. It's interesting. And then the last one, I would say, I mean, you can tell my mind now. Like I'm more of a science type guy, but and my brother Matt, he's got the most. You need to get him on here sometime and just let him his useless trivia. It's very, he might not know some basic stuff, but he's got this useless trivia down. But he talks about that the low percentage of the ocean has been explored. Like it's like a crazy 10% or something of the ocean.
We don't even know what's going on out there.
But that interests me. All that stuff interests me. So I'd like to learn a little bit more about that.
It's an unknown.
Yeah.
It's scary. Yeah,
It is.
the fear of the unknown, and I'm right there. I'm like, what? I'm not going down there.
No doubt.
Yeah, so we'll see, and I feel like if I got Matt on here, he'd be like, okay, he'd be able to name off like 80s rock band documentaries.
Oh, yeah.
Like I want to learn more about those, or like.
I already know all about those. So
Yeah,
I'm good.
But you know what I mean? Yeah, that's right. Okay, one more 3 things. 3 favorite vegetables.
Potatoes are number 1. Like I can't. I'm a red meat. All like, give me a steak, all that stuff. But I don't think I could do like the hardcore. Is it keto? That's the no carb. Anyway, I just don't think I could do one of those diets because I got to have some French fries.
Oh yeah,
I need a
starch.
baked potato, like a breakfast burrito. The number 1 ingredient on a breakfast burrito is potatoes. Like, I don't care what anybody says. It's number 1. I can do it without egg or anything, but potatoes number 1.
Okay.
I'm a pretty big fan of asparagus.
Oh yeah. Okay.
My family kind of likes that. Number three, I would probably just be pretty lame and say green beans.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
pretty bland.
You get
Y'all figured that out now. If
you
uh,
got you
our
got
three
two
three
green
people
ones. You
watching
got two
this.
green ones in there. And the last thing I have for you, and this is always fast. I asked Joe this the other day, but I'm curious. Every coach operates this way. I love following these things. Do you have a favorite quote that's either in the locker room or that you kind of, I don't know, live by, or that you've heard recently that you've tried to impress upon your team? We all see those cross our
Yeah,
social media or our
sure.
desk, and it can change. It could be different in 6 months
Yeah.
from now. But anything that you're
Yeah, mine ties into one of our core values, and it's usually the first core value that we talk about, enthusiasm. But this is it's kind of like Michael Scott. I'm going to quote
That's
somebody
fine.
quoting somebody, but everybody's probably seen it on the Jimmy V speech, Jimmy
yeah.
Valvano speech. But it's a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote that just says something along the lines of "Nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm." Just think that's life. That's not just a football thing. That's in life. You got to have an enthusiasm about yourself. So that's my go-to.
Money. Friday night, 7 o'clock. Be there. The opener. You will enjoy it. Be there if you can't. Watch us on LCISD YouTube channel. Myself, Tommy Wood. His dad, Chuck Darden, the Hall of Famer, be in the booth with me this year. I'm looking forward to that. It's an all-star crew, and our girl Taylor Peters, Drew's wife, who's a stud in her own right. So we will bring you the coverage on 100.7 The Score on the YouTube channel, but we'd love to see you there in the stadium. It's football season and football time in Texas, Coach.
That's right. Go Pirates.
Absolutely. Go Pirates. Been another edition of Pirate Talk. Chris Level, Chip Darden. We'll talk to you next time.